Hey everybody, Steven here, and today I'm going to do kind of like an average gamer's review of my NZXT H440. So I just got in my Fantex Intho Evolve case. I'm upgrading from this to that, but I've had this case now for about 3.5, going on 4 years now, and I love this case. It's just I wanted to upgrade to something with more room in it, and this is a mid-tower, so is the Fantex one, but it is a little bit bigger. Now, I'm just going to cover some stuff with this. With our screw bits here, we'll just take off kind of the front panel. This is plastic, and then the rest of this is actually, I want to say it's just steel. Either that or aluminum. I can't remember exactly what it is, but I mean, it's not cheap material. I mean, you can hear it has some weight to it. So right here we have our drive bay, so we have all of our, I have all my hard drives in there, and you have two SD slots right here. I've done it before. I don't like the look of the cord when it comes up like that. Our sign here does illuminate, so does the back panel. It has LEDs there, so you push the little button here, it'll come on and off with that. So that's really, really cool. I've seen people that take this out because they actually put a radiator mount in for their water cooling system. I just don't have that, so I'm not using that there. But some people do that. Underneath this is your power supply unit that actually screws in, which I really, really like. Underneath here, you're going to have your tray. So we're going to have that with the mesh on there for that filter. Really, really nice touch. I like all the actual openings over here, so you can get that airflow in as well. This top part pops off, and with this, it's actually a little bit harder to do. It's a little bit rough, right? But that'll pop off, and it actually has these nice padded liners in there. You got 3 fans in here. I just have 120s. You can actually put 140s in there. I have a 140 in the back here, but you can also put a 120. With that, we have our USB ports here. It has 2 3.0s and then just 2 2.0s. And with that, I do like that on this case. My new one only has 2, and I don't quite understand. There's been a shift that I've seen with a lot of them where they're only putting 2 USB ports on there instead of having the 4. Especially when they have room. Like the Fantex case, I noticed that they do have the room, they just don't have it on there. But this has that, which I really, really do like that part of it. Just makes it easier. Because I'm running VR on this, and I have a whole bunch of other things that I'm plugging in this. I have a lot of wireless equipment, so with all of that plugging in, it takes up all the USB ports on my motherboard, but I don't want to get a PCIe slot if I don't have to. Unfortunately, with the new case, I'm going to have to do that, where this had me kind of covered. And I'm actually running an extension from this to my monitor. I have a BenQ 32-inch monitor, and that has 4 ports on it. I'm running the extension and using those, and I'm still using all of those. So after that, this front panel will actually pop off as well. Same thing, it's a little bit rough when it pops off, but it is secure when it goes in. These are all plastic also, so I mean, if it breaks, unfortunately, you're kind of out of luck on that. We still have the kind of noise reduction pad here with that filters on the side. This has a magnetic filter on it as well that I just slide in here, and then it'll just flop on just like that. With this same thing, I could put in some 140s. I only have my 120s in here. You could put in some 140 fans on that if you wanted to. The magnetic strip here, I really do like the cases when they have that, where you can just kind of flop it down like that. But it does have the openings if you wanted to do that. You could put that larger radiator on that if you had that water cooling system with that. So that's there. We'll plop this back on, and then nice and secure. And then it's back on. As far as the amount of noise, it's not a noisy case once everything's kind of enclosed. I mean, even on this, we kind of have our noise reduction pad, which is really, really nice with that. But I'm going to turn this around now, and this is where it's going to get messy. So I have my cables kind of managed, but I had them really managed at one point, and then started doing more upgrades, and then just was in a rush to get everything in. Didn't want to mess with it. So the screws can be tricky on the back ends sometime, but we have our noise reduction pad right here. With that, you're looking at all the lines, and it kind of cuts into it with that. Unavoidable. You're not going to not have that. If it rips, though, that's going to kind of suck. I got a couple spots on here where it's dug in there. I just didn't realize it. But as you can see, kind of a mess back here right now. But we do have a fan control board here. And mine actually went out. So the LED light here for the power supply button, the power button here, that actually didn't work when I got the case. And then I ended up contacting NZXT. They sent me a new one. The problem with NZXT, every time I've had to deal with them, which has been on multiple occasions, they sent me two different units for different cases. Didn't fit this case at all. And I can't remember which case it actually fit, but it wasn't the H440. It was a different case. They sent me the setup for that. And I couldn't use them. So I was like, what do you want me to do, guys? They ended up getting it to me finally, and it's free. You don't have to pay for any of that stuff, which is awesome. But it kind of sucks when you have to deal with stuff like that, because I ended up having to do the same thing. I got two different fan control boards for different cases. Matter of fact, I sent the same one twice, and I sent them pictures. Every time I sent them in the actual picture that showed the serial number of the part, and they still messed it up. So it is free, but if you ever do work with them, just maybe you might actually have to expect that that might be a problem that you'll run into. But this ended up frying out. Didn't hurt anything else, just went out itself, but I replaced that and everything's good. You can obviously see the bracket here for putting in your hard drives. You can mount the SSD on the bottom of these. So you could actually have your regular hard drive and then your SSD underneath that. I didn't want to do that just because of cable management with that. And I don't like the look on the front there. It does have the slots, by the way, so that you can run your cords up to your motherboard, your USB-C pins and all that other stuff, which is awesome. I was looking at my upgrade going with the Corsair 57D, and they didn't have that. You had to run those power cables across the bottom of the motherboard on top of the case that holds the encasement of the power supply unit. Didn't like the look of that. So this does have the openings for that. I do like that. It does give you different areas where you can actually pin a lot of this stuff. Like I said, I just haven't messed with it. I did on certain areas, but I've been trading out fans and a whole bunch of different stuff and just haven't wanted to mess with it. So, and plus you're not going to see it on this particular case because we're not dealing with tempered glass on the back or anything like that. So you can manage the cables really well looking at all these different areas where you can actually tie those off, which is nice. All the cords coming out of the bottom here from the power supply unit, routing up through the slots when you need them, these coming up to actually power my USB cables and all of that as well. So definitely recommend this case. Like I said, I've had this thing about three and a half, maybe going on 4 years now, and I've enjoyed it. I went with white, hoping that I was actually going to convert everything over eventually to white. My mouse, my keyboard, all that other stuff. It just didn't happen. So part of the reason why I'm doing this, I'm wanting to get a little bit bigger so that I can fit more stuff in it with future upgrades, but also so that I can match. I want that color scheme, and I'm going to run LEDs in it. I have used the NZXT LEDs in here. That fried out. I didn't really like that product. I've used a couple other ones, but it just was a pain to deal with. But when it is illuminated, it does kind of shine through this plastic piece here very, very well. Shows everything in that. So thumbs up on this case. I love it. I love the USB that it has the 4. I love how everything fits. I do like how they have everything stacked in there. It's just a phenomenal looking case also, in my opinion. They have the black with red, which I almost, for this upgrade, just went ahead and ordered another with one of these with the red highlights on it. But I was like, no, you got to branch out a little bit, try some other products, see what you like here. If you guys are interested in a great mid-tower case, I do recommend the H440. A lot of people are moving over to tempered glass, so if that's something that's super important to you, obviously this isn't going to be the case for you. NZXT does have some of the newer ones that do have that tempered glass on it, but good news is it's not as expensive. I mean, this is going for like 100, 110, maybe 115 on Amazon. I'm going to put some links for that if you guys are wanting to order that. But Average Gamer review, love the case. Phenomenal, especially for a first build. If you're doing a first build, this is one that looks slick. It's easy to manage. There's not a lot of technical stuff going on with this to a super high degree where you're going to be super confused with it, which you're seeing with other cases where maybe they show like the temperature for the fans and they actually have it so that you can build a water cooling system, a custom water cooling system in it, stuff like that. Obviously you're not going to want to do that. That's too much. This is a great kind of starting point for you where you want one that's not super cheap and it's a good mid-range price for you. So if you guys like the video, hit the like button for me. If you want to continue to follow along with all my content, hit the subscribe button for me. And thank you so much for watching.